Hey guys, Editor Jacob here from the future. No new episode this week, so we're going to bring you an old favorite that some of you might not have heard back in the day, the beginnings of I'm Trying, with the wonderful Andrea Boehlke. She's a co-host on People Now, People Magazine's online news and entertainment show. You can check that out at People's website. Most of you probably know her from Survivor. She's great. This is a great episode. Happy to bring it to you again. We should have some new interviews coming to you starting next week. So stay tuned. Please subscribe if you're not already. And goodbye.
On the train one day, I saw him. I was like, oh, there he is. And so I saw him. He didn't see me yet. And I looked away and then looked back. And he must have, while I looked away and looked back, he must have seen me. Mm-hmm. He put up his hood and slouched into the seat. He hid from me. This man hid from me on the train.
Can't separate us, we fit together all night. I wanna go inside, I wanna go. Oh man, I need to be in a boy band.
I agree, you also need to.
Take me back to 1998.
I was 3. Hi everybody, welcome to I'm Trying.
Oh no, you're recording.
Of course I was recording. How could I not record?
We're gonna get sued.
Because it was too perfect. Because you were too on. Had it.
Oh.
I just cursed.
I'm sorry, Jacob from O-Town, not Jacob on the podcast.
There was a guy named Jacob at O-Town?
Yeah, he had a goatee, I think.
I can have a goatee.
Well, you don't now, because you just shaved today.
I look like a baby. Anyways, you have the opening line. You should start.
Welcome to I'm Trying, the podcast where we really do try our best, and just sometimes it's not good enough.
You just ignoring the new tagline?
Yeah.
You don't want to
do what I want.
All right, well, I'm Jacob Derwin. Thank you very much for joining us for episode number 4. I think it's 4. We're so glad you're here. Well, this has already gone to hell.
Why? Because O-Town?
No, because we're just like, screw the script. Who needs a script?
I've gone rogue. As episode 4, it was about time. Yep. It was about time I,
week 4
put the script on
of this experiment into our psyches. Yeah. We were just watching a whole bunch of Disney songs. For like kind of picking out our favorite, maybe underrated, maybe just songs we maybe forgot about from years past. And I think we all agreed that like, I won't say I'm in Love from Hercules is a top contender.
That's the top. No, it is the top.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite.
It's the most like, heartbreakingly trying to be irreverent, but not.
I just love a sarcastic princess. I love an exasperated love interest who's just like not into being in that scheme, but has to just like, fine. I'll sing the pretty song because I'm a good singer. It's just it's so good. It's so good in the muses and everything.
No man is worth the aggravation. That's ancient history.
I've been there.
Done that.
Man,
we should have saved that for our song. Whatever.
Well, we got other ideas.
We got so much more.
We're full of them. As Jhanelle referenced, I am clean-shaven today. I woke up early and decided, you know what? I got some time.
Gillette, the best a man can get.
You ain't wrong. Except I use organic shaving soap.
Ooh, fancy, huh?
Fancy boy. But the razor's still up though. And it's, my problem is my beard starts to get out of control. I try to reduce it, make it look good even. And
do you have a clipper?
I use clippers.
Okay.
But inevitably what happens is some half goes a little too far or things are a little off balance. They don't look symmetrical. And my gut instinct is to burn it all down. So I just take off the whole freaking beard. And
down with the patriarchy!
Now who needs it? And then I have a baby face and I look 16 again. And yeah.
So, do you use a 5-blade razor?
I think it's a 3-blade.
What?
It might be a 5-blade. I don't know. I am not sure. It's probably a 5-blade. If it's a Gillette Pro Glide, it's probably a 5-blade.
Gillette Pro Glide? That sounds serious.
That's my brand. I don't really, I barely use it, as you can tell. Usually when you see me, I have quite a beard, usually. So I don't use that often. And when I do, it's like, all right.
It worked really well. Like, it looked like you waxed your face.
Well, I was thorough. I took my time. I had a lot of time this morning. I was thorough. Also, I mean, the thing is, I guess if I have sensitive skin, and when you don't shave a lot, your skin doesn't get your skin gets agitated fast. So like the amount of blood after I shaved, just like all these little dots of just like, it was mayhem.
The Shining.
Basically, yeah. My face was the elevator scene, and I'm just like putting aftershave cream on everything, just like soothe, cool me, make me not look like the planet Mars. I
think that's because you're using the 3-blade.
I think it's a 5-blade. I just don't know.
Oh, it is a 5-blade?
I can go check.
I use a 5-blade on my legs.
Yeah?
And I use a men's razor. It just works better. Yeah. And they're cheaper. That's not fair.
Was it called Pink Tax?
Yeah, Pink Tax. Yeah.
That's just silly.
I was talking about it to someone, and they're like, oh, the reason that female razors cost more are because there's extra. It costs more to make them, to produce.
Why?
I guess more emollients and, the lavender and liang and Palo Santo and sage and
I like sage. I'll take a sage. I'm a big fan of sage. Sage smells great. I had a sage plant growing for a while. Everyone uses aloe. Everyone has the freaking cream or the balm.
Yeah, I don't buy it though. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't buy that. It costs more.
Whose legs need to smell like lavender? Mine don't.
Come on. Lavender's a huge pull.
I mean, I have lavender tea. I like that. I don't want to.
Oh, to keep you calm calm that anxiety.
But I'm not like sniffing around the park and being like, that girl's got lavender legs.
No, but you said you have sensitive skin. Lavender will soothe your skin.
Yeah, should I just rub?
Do you ever wax? Have you ever waxed before?
Have I ever waxed? Mm-hmm. Jhanelle, do I look like a man who waxes?
What do you mean? What does that even mean? Do you look like a man who waxes?
I look like Bigfoot's cousin. I'm not.
Is your face not smooth?
That's
today?
Just from shaving, dude.
Yeah.
And you know what? Tomorrow, if I don't add enough of that cream back on, I'm gonna break out like.
How long did it take you to shave?
I think it took me about an hour and 15 minutes this morning.
What if I told you that if you went to go waxing,
yeah,
that would take maybe 7 minutes?
What if
less?
I told you there's no chance?
What are you talking? No, what are you talking about? There's no chance.
Why would I subject myself to the feeling of pulling a Band-Aid off times 1,000 over and over again?
Do you know what I go through every 4 weeks? And it's not my face.
Jhanelle, I consider this male privilege, and I intend to keep it.
Interestingly enough, my waxer, we have each other on Instagram. We're Instagram friends now.
I don't know. I think have you mentioned this to me before? I feel like
because it's a huge accomplishment for me. That's. I'm such a private person that the person who the person who I'm not romantically involved with or intimate with, who sees everything.
Who knows you in the biblical sense?
Yeah. Follows me on Instagram. I follow her, and she's just the best, man. Shout out. I don't know if she wants a shout out.
Shout out to my waxer.
Yeah.
Shout
out to European Wax Spa. We'll just say that.
Yeah, man.
They use special sensitive wax with no strips. We need to take
Jhanelle?
you. My eyes are lighting up right now. Jhanelle, you can't see this.
How about this? Hey, advertisers, I know you're listening. If we get an advertiser on the show who pays us to make the show, I will get a wax. I don't know where. I can't say how. Can't say when. It'll happen. But you gotta pay me. Our roommates are nearby, and one of them just motions, "We're gonna do it for you," which is disturbing.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid to go to sleep tonight. Yeah, no, I don't intend to get a wax job anytime soon. I will say, before I went on Survivor, I wanted to fix up my eyebrows a little bit because I tend to have a unibrow, and it gets a little bit unruly up here. I like my eyebrows, actually. I think I
used to date a guy that threaded his eyebrows.
My eyebrow care is very literally shave it in the middle and do a little bit of touch up around.
Do you have a natural unibrow?
It just kind of happens sometimes. It's not it's not like a thick thing, but it gets fuzzy in the middle. Most guys experience this.
Everybody.
Everybody. You're right. And so my sister, who's a plucking, she's into the little, what's the word? Pluckers?
Threading. Oh, tweezing.
Tweezing, that's the word. Tweezing. We sat down in my dining room, and she used the little strips, the little wax strip, not really wax strips, the little I don't know what they were, sticky strips, whatever, and some tweezers, and just fixed up my eyebrows.
And how did that feel?
Terrible. Over and over again. Awful. But
Jacob, you're such a baby.
And do you know what the worst was? A couple days later, because my skin wasn't used to that kind of thing, I broke out all over the middle of my eyebrows.
With hives.
Not hives, zits.
Oh.
I don't know what happened. And eventually, luckily, it kind of went away before the show started. But like, I was like sitting in Fiji, like willing these weird eyebrow zits away because my eyebrows look good. They look nice and even, but it was...
I mean, that's the price of... That's the cost of...
Beauty?
Yeah, it's the cost of beauty.
Yeah.
When I used to get my eyebrows waxed,
right now.
both my eyebrows would just swell up, and I looked like Quasimodo from Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Speaking of Disney
I'm like,
movies.
don't look at me. Actually, no, that's a Christina Aguilera quote. Don't look at me.
From what?
Every day is so wonderful. And suddenly, it's hard to breathe.
You're not singing. I don't appreciate that.
Because I don't want to get sued.
You're not going to get sued.
Well, it's licensed to, I think she's signed to RCA.
All right. Well, we'll be careful then.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's talk about the person we're having on the show today. This is a friend of mine, possibly a friend of yours, Andrea Boehlke.
She's a friend of mine now.
Yeah,
We
you guys got
solidified
along.
it.
Andrea is one
And
of
we're the
those...
same age, I think.
You are,
We're in
you're
the
both
same
29.
year.
Message redacted.
You always expose me.
She's very...
She's very proud
That's
of
the
it.
topic of the conversation.
Yeah.
She thinks it's important to not let your age define what you are. Like it's like I think her general move is like, don't go like longing to be younger because there are things you can do now that you never could have done a couple years ago, and that's something to be proud of.
She's right about that. You shouldn't associate your worth with your age. But what you just said, there's things you can do now that you couldn't do before.
Yeah.
What can I do now at 29? 29 hypothetically that I couldn't hypothetically do at 27.
I assure you, you're funnier.
Huh?
Oh yeah. You're probably smarter.
I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, you've probably just learned a lot. But Andrea's a friend. Andrea is one of those people in my life who I'm very grateful to have. I mean, I never want this show to become very Survivor heavy. I don't intend for that to ever happen.
Yeah.
That said, when I got back from the show and I was like just a ball of depression and anxiety, she was a big comfort for me. She was incredibly supportive. She's one of the people who like kind of gave me not permission, but made me feel like it was okay to seek out therapy. She's been a very important person in my past couple years in particular, and to call someone who I watched on TV and admired a friend is a very nice thing. And
Did you say you were a fan of her before?
yeah, absolutely, undoubtedly.
Whoa.
And she's the reason I have this apartment. She's the reason I met you. She's the reason this podcast exists. If you go back far enough, so Andrea is just the best. If you really like our conversation, you can actually go to her podcast. It's called Past Your Bedtime. Don't stop this podcast. Finish this one first, then go to the other one. Go to Past Your Bedtime. She does it with her co-host Kate, who's wonderful as well. It was called An Emotional Support Lizard. She's on People TV as a presenter. She's all over the place. She's a good one. She's a good one.
She's your fairy godmother.
She kind of, yeah. I do appreciate her quite a bit. So enjoy our conversation with the fabulous Andrea Boehlke.
Oh, yeah.
So like you were visiting, it was your family's ranch, or?
Yeah, so I grew up on a farm. So we have a big farm with horses. Whenever I go home, I always go into the pasture and start petting the horses because they're my favorite. But it was hunting season, so the horses were all on edge because there's hunters all over. And I mean, I'm from a very redneck family. So I was with my mom. My mom had just finished hunting, right? So she goes. So I'm going out to the horses and I'm petting them. They're all around me in a circle. My mom unloads her gun and makes that sound.
And the horses think they're about to get
shot. So the horses freaked out, and the one that was right to my right kind of came at me, and I put my arm up and I was like, hey, and then he completely just ran right over me. I don't know what happened. Like, I blacked out. Then I woke up like seconds later, and it was just like I couldn't feel my face. I couldn't move my face. There was blood everywhere, and I had no idea what had happened. I didn't know if I even had a face. It was like I didn't, honestly.
Oh my God.
I couldn't feel or move anything. And then my mom came running over, and she was obviously really sad and hysterical. And I was like, call the police, or not the police, but like call an ambulance. I couldn't even speak. I was like, call an ambulance. Blood's just like spewing out of my nose and mouth. It was horrible.
Was there an ambulance out there?
I mean, far away. It took a while to get there because I didn't know if I had trauma to my head. So they took me to the hospital. and I broke my nose, but it was on the bottom, so I didn't have to get it like fixed or anything.
Yeah.
And then, nothing else was really broken besides my nose, just a lot of blood, and then my gums were kind of shoved up my mouth.
Oh my God.
Which that's the worst because I already have bad gums, so I've already had 2 gum surgeries. And before this.
Oh my gosh.
So I have, my bottom gums were receding, which is like horrible, but it's very common. And so I got gum surgery to fix it. And then
I didn't know that exists.
Yeah.
I may need that.
It's great.
No,
Yeah?
gingivitis is a problem.
Okay.
Do you have gingivitis?
Yeah.
No,
I'm
I do too.
embarrassed about it.
No, I do too.
A bonding moment.
It's the first time I've actually said it out loud though, but no, I have gingivitis, absolutely.
You always hear it on the commercials, and it sounds like gangrene. It sounds like the worst thing you could have.
That's pretty common,
If you
man.
look up the stats, I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but it's apparently, like, I don't know. But there's a lot of people have it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I got my gums fixed, which is really cool that you can actually get gum surgery
Do
to
they
fix.
add gums to your gums?
Yes. So what they either cut your own gum from the roof of your mouth. They either use that or they use cow collagen or cadaver. So on my bottom gums could be a dead person. I don't know.
So-
I never asked what they used. They didn't use it. They didn't use my own stuff.
That smile be fresh to death.
It's
though.
either
So you got trampled by a horse, and then you got cow put in your mouth, basically.
Or cadaver.
Or dead people. This is great. This is a whole...
So then I already have had gum surgery twice, and then when I saw that my top gums were like shoved up my mouth, it was the worst feeling in the world because now I have to get gum surgery again, which I'm actually getting in a week.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it'll be my last one. But this one they actually do have to cut from the roof of my mouth and then stitch it over.
And what's the recovery time on that?
It only 4 days. A lot
Like a
of
wisdom
Percocet.
tooth kind of thing?
Yeah. I'm missing a day of work, and
too
then it's not too. It's
One
actually
day
not
of
too
work?
bad. I'm only missing 1 day of work. Well, I'm gonna do it on a Friday, and then hopefully by that Monday, I'm fine.
You're a trooper. You're Wolverine. You know that? Like, even after the initial...
More Wolverine.
No, even after the initial trampling, I remember seeing pictures. You would post pictures every now and then of like the recovery process. You looked pretty good after like a week and a half, which is saying something after trampled by the horses.
Like looking at your face right now, I'm like, yo, I need to get trampled by a horse. Is that how you get that look?
After a week, I went back to work. It's just that my face was so puffy. When I look back at pictures now from that time, I do kind of look like a Who from Whoville. Like my face was so puffy. But now I think I'm back to normal. Besides this last surgery.
Yeah. I mean, oh my Lord. I mean, do you remember when you got to the hospital what your initial feelings were? Like, were you irritated? Were you scared? Like, what was the...
I was, okay, this sounds really bad, but my job, it's all kind of my face. It's all presentation. Yeah. When another hunter was running towards me after I got off the ground, I asked him, is my face going to be okay? I was really worried that my face was going to be seriously altered or, deformed or something.
Of course, that's the first thing I was concerned about
but I was happy to be alive. Like I could have died. If I would have hit my head or a hoof would have hit my head, I could have died. I think that's why I actually had a pretty good attitude about it because after I found out, looks like my nose will be fine, my face will go back to normal, I'm alive, it could have been so much worse. Seriously, hoof to my head, it could have died. Yeah. So.
And you weren't even riding the horse. That's the messed up part.
You were just being nice to the horses. You were just riding horses.
Yeah.
Actually, the really crazy thing is I have a video right when it happened.
You do?
Yeah,
Whoa.
So I was taking a video of the horses when they trampled me. I was taking it and I was saying, hi, ooh, the horses. And then you hear me go, whoa, when the horse hits me. And then the phone went flying, but it's saved. So later in the hospital, I found that video.
I didn't know this.
And then I was actually just having fun with it and I posted the video, I posted a picture of me in the hospital.
Whoa.
I have this picture with my sisters my one sister doesn't like to be in pictures. There's a picture of me in the hospital looking super messed up, huge lips, and my sisters smile. I've never seen them look so happy in their life.
I did see that picture. I didn't see the video.
Yeah.
You got it on video.
That's twisted.
You could sue the horse and possibly win. You have evidence.
I don't think that horse has a lot of money.
Sue you for every hoof you've got. That is amazing, and I'm so glad you're okay.
Thank you.
I'm glad these dang surgeries are almost over.
Yeah.
It's been a long time now. It's been over a year.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Gosh. So what came to mind when we asked you about your stories?
I have a lot of pretty bad dating stories.
Ooh.
One you actually know about. I've told this on my podcast, but I feel like there's new listeners.
Past your bedtime.
Past your bedtime.
I was very apologetic.
Yeah. Well, okay, so the last guy that actually this was a few guys ago, but there's this guy that used to live below me, my neighbor, and he was so hot. I ran into him and I was like, oh, this man, his name's Christian, whatever, I say his real name, because I did it on my podcast. He's not, at this point, like, he's long gone. Yeah. But I was so interested in how I could get to know him, so I tweeted about it, and I had a lot of people give suggestions on how I should meet my neighbor. Oh. And so they were saying, oh, you should have a party and invite him, and I thought, that's an amazing idea. Love parties. It's a great way to invite him up. Yeah. And
and it doesn't come off as desperate.
Yes. So I went down and knocked on his door, and he opened, and I was like, hey, I'm new to the building. I'm going to have this housewarming party. Let me know if you want to come. And I could tell that he was interested. Like, there was a flirty,
like, hot girl asking me to come to her party.
Yeah, there was a flirty vibe. So I was like, ooh, this guy. And this man was just a really good-looking guy, but seems like a nice, kind person, too. So I was super excited. So I throw this whole party. I invited Jacob. I invited a lot of my friends.
That was your first mistake.
I went, I bought a ton of booze. I bought extra plants. Like, the place was decked out. I live in New York. It's a small New York apartment. Like, I don't need to have a party.
This is a relatively new apartment, too, right?
Yeah.
You got some extra CO2 in there.
Yeah, so I have this whole party, and I'm really excited about the neighbor coming. So the morning of the party, I actually had a photo shoot, so it was perfect because I had professional hair and makeup done. Like, I was gonna look great. But so while I'm getting my hair and makeup done for this photo shoot, the day of the party, I had a text from Christian, the neighbor. Yeah. And he texted me and it said, hey, I'm super excited about tonight. Just wondering, is it okay if significant others come along?
Oh my gut. I felt that.
I was so defeated. It's like, of course this happens. I'm literally having this party for this man. I don't want to have a party. I don't. And so now...
Did you overcompensate? Like, what was your reaction?
I said, oh yes, totally fine.
Cool, we love girlfriends, wives, whatever you want to bring.
So, yeah. And I was actually surprised that he waited that long to tell me. But I think it's because he didn't know she was going to be staying over that night or something. I think he was wanting to show up solo, but then realized, oh shoot, she's here. So that's why he waited so long. Anyway, I go through with the party. He shows up with his girlfriend, and we all hang out. And she was nice. Like,
she was lovely.
She was great.
Yeah. Be honest. Did a little part of you want to disinvite him and her?
I don't want to have a party anymore. I didn't want to hang out with this guy and his girlfriend at all. But the party was fine. It was just like such a bummer. And then, what did you say, Jacob? You messed up or something?
I screwed everything up. So basically, I saw the girlfriend, and as soon as I saw her, so you pretty much told us ahead of time, like, don't mention the S word. Don't mention. I don't want. Yeah.
What's the S word?
The S word is survivor.
Survivor. I didn't want. So this is the thing: is now that I know he's a girlfriend, I don't want them like looking me up and then seeing that I'm talking about, because I was talking about this on my podcast as it was happening. Look, I'm totally shameless about like being thirsty for dudes, right? But like when a guy is a girlfriend, then I want to stay away. I don't. I would never come between that. And it was a mistake. It was an honest mistake. But I told him, don't say anything about Survivor, because I don't want him looking me up and seeing that I'm like talking about this or listen and then
I wasn't thinking that hard. I was thinking more just, there's a girlfriend, it's over. And so
it's over.
At some point, it was me, him, the girlfriend, and like I think Quinn, one of your friends, like chatting in a circle, and and eventually he just like asked like, oh, how do you know Andrea? And I saw the girlfriend, and I don't know. I had an aneurysm. I'm not really sure what happened, and I just go, oh, we did a show together at some point. He goes, oh, what show? And I'm just like, it was a silly reality thing. It's called Survivor. He's like, oh, you did Survivor again. Like, yeah. And they were super low key about it. They didn't react big. They were very like nonchalant about it. I'm like, yeah, that thing. And I think you came over at that point, and you were giving me this stare.
Oh, I was so mad.
Of just like, oh, you shouldn't have come here. And I'm just, and I'm thinking like, and I kind of like knew, but at the same time, I'm like, it doesn't matter that much, right?
cut.
How are you even still friends?
That's a good question.
Why did you say that? Were you just nervous? Or
I didn't have a lie. I didn't have anything planned.
That's your first problem. Oh,
Jhanelle,
You should have just said work or something.
I coulda, and I shoulda, and I didn't.
It's fine. I mean, it always, you guys will find out as you do your podcast, it's a tricky line of when you talk about real life stories, but then you want to be respectful that if they would tune in, they're not going to.
And they will.
I don't know. That's always the question. Will they? Because I talk about dates and stuff, and I'm always hoping secretly that the guys I'm interested in aren't listening, especially like tuning into a podcast and hear me talk about how I have cadaver in my gums. You know, like you're always kind of hoping that they're not listening.
Some people might think that's hot.
No, I'm an open book too. Like I tell everybody this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I just assume that anybody that's into you is going to listen out of curiosity.
That's true.
They're getting a cheat sheet.
Yeah, I guess then my fear is that they listen and then there's something that I say that is going to be off-putting, but then that wasn't who you're supposed to be with anyway.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
Oh dear, oh dear. Well, I again, all these months later, do apologize for my idiocy.
Oh, it's all good. I mean, the only thing that happened was probably then they could look up Andrea Survivor and find my podcast and then hear me tell the story about, which is a funny story.
That didn't happen.
Well, that's why I didn't want them to, like, I didn't want him to look
I wasn't
me up.
thinking that far. I was literally thinking, oh, they just don't allow me thinking I'm reality show girl. That's really all I thought of it.
Oh, no, I just didn't want them to.
I didn't think about the podcast.
Oh, that's the only reason. I didn't care if they know I was on Survivor.
I wasn't even slightly there. Yeah.
I'm not like ashamed of Survivor. It's more that I didn't want them to tune in, and especially I was more the girlfriend.
I totally get it. Hey, and now I understand.
If the girl, because before
the
I knew,
girlfriend would tune in.
because before I knew that he and the girlfriend were together, I was gushing about him the entire time, being like, "There's this hot guy that lives below me," like just talking about the one time that he helped. He actually did one time help me build a table, and it was like all this fantasy of like this hot neighbor, and so I was just gushing about him for a few episodes before I found out he had a girlfriend. I was like, oh my gosh, this girlfriend, if she looks me up and reads any description of these podcasts and sees him talking about a hot neighbor, she's gonna hate me.
Maybe him and the girlfriend were on the outs.
No, now he actually moved away. So now he moved to Seattle. So he's gone. Can't wait to see who moves in next. Can you imagine if it's another hot guy?
I adore you. Don't invite me to any more
Company.
parties. I'm good. Oh dear, yeah. That's for both of us. That story's for both of us. Absolutely.
That story breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Because you went through all the effort of doing the party and the plans and the.
Yeah.
Well, and
it was nice because it was cool because it was a neighbor that you met in person. It wasn't dating apps, social media kind of dates.
That's the best. Like meeting someone organically in person.
Yeah.
It's so serendipitous.
I know.
Can I tell you all a secret?
Yes.
I very much, I deeply considered your strategy to get my neighbors to be friends with me.
Oh.
And I ended up bailing on that once I realized how it didn't work. And also I don't like parties. And instead I just bought Jhanelle ice cream. And that's legitimately it. That's literally it. That's why we do this. Is because I decided that we talked briefly after a 7-Eleven thing, which is a whole other story, and I found out what kind of ice cream she liked, and I said, okay, well, I'm getting no ice cream, and that's how we'll do this, because I'm not throwing a party.
You were gonna have a party so you could get to know the neighbors. I mean, it's
literally,
yeah.
I would have
came like.
But another thing is, as we've learned, I'm bad at parties. I don't like throwing them. I don't like attending them. I'm not good at them.
Do you get anxiety? Is it?
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
I just I don't know how to play that. Like I don't know how to play that scenario. I don't know how to play that environment. I went to a bar recently with my roommate and Jhanelle after an open mic, and they found other people they were getting really talkative with and really getting into it, and I was just kind of floating, I don't know what to do with myself. I'd had one Coca-Cola, just sat there, nursed it for 3 hours. I don't know what I'm doing.
That's definitely a social anxiety thing.
Maybe also I'm just not good at it.
I used to have really bad social anxiety, and I needed to have certain crutches.
Sure.
So one of them was a drink. If I had a drink in my hand, I felt like I belonged there somehow, even if I wasn't contributing.
You know what?
But you don't drink.
I don't drink. It's a whole thing. I basically throw every obstacle I can in front of myself so I can trip in 1,000 different ways. It's an ongoing story.
That's something I've never dealt with. I've never had social anxiety. I love parties.
You do? I know.
Yeah. I mean, I have a slew of other issues, but you know what I don't have social anxiety, and I'm so thankful. Like I never feel any sort of anxiety about anything, a gathering.
I have a question for you, though.
Yeah.
Please.
How do you deal with, because you talk about dating a lot, how do you deal with rejection?
Oh, yeah, I mean, okay, so everyone gets rejected. I think for a while I was afraid to admit when I would get rejected, but I get rejected all the time. It's like guys will just, all the time, yeah. Like, if you put yourself out there, I'm someone though that especially this last year, so now I have a new approach to dating now where I'm more chill. Or I just try to like focus on myself, and dating is like a fun add-on. And if like I'm seeing somebody, that's great, but I try not to get too invested, which unfortunately now I have these walls built up because of things like rejection. But what happens, I get really invested and infatuated really quickly, and then I kind of become a little obsessed, where I'm like really into somebody, and then for whatever reason, it just doesn't work out, or a guy will kind of like fizzle, or I'll straight up ask, what is this? Is this going anywhere? And then that freaks the guy out, because no one wants to be asked that. They're like, yeah, we were hanging, like what are you talking about? I think I just try to not, it's hard, it's like easier said than done. I just try not to take it personally and realize like everyone's getting rejected and nobody's like keeping a tally, you know? You don't do well with rejection?
I'm keeping a tally.
I'm always keeping a tally.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't usually get rejected. Like I will go on a date. I know I'll only go on a date if I know there's a really high success or chance that it's going to be successful, right?
Yeah.
So what does that look like? Do they have to be really, into you over text, being really sweet?
You can just tell. Like, I mean, if it's a dating app and you meet on a dating app, you're obviously both interested in each other, so there's a good chance you'll at least have a good first date. But yeah, I just have to make sure that we're like on the same level. And I don't know, I always have fun with first dates. Like, I don't know, I have a pretty good success rate. Oh, first dates, so confident because I know how to have fun. It falls apart for me at like date 4 or 5 because then I don't know what's happening, and then I think I start to get a little awkward, or I always get most uncomfortable when I don't know what else to talk about. And so like the worst feeling ever is when you're like dating someone and all of a sudden you have nothing to talk about. It's like the most painful thing ever. So that's where things start to unravel, is like maybe like 4 or 5. And then usually like someone starts fizzling the other person out, and that's a rejection. But then I always try to think back to the signs that it wasn't even really meant to be anyway, I have a good rejection story. This is an embarrassing story.
Let's do it.
On the topic of rejection,
Yeah.
This is actually like really embarrassing. It was like the one time I like physically stalked someone. So
you were like Penn Badgley or whatever.
no, that's exactly what this is. It is like that. I met this guy. I was 22. I just moved to New York. I met this guy. He was an actor. We had the same agent. So I met him at the agency. He's super cute, right? And he'd been in a couple things. Wasn't like super famous or anything yet. Yeah, I can't actually say who these people are. But I get like really infatuated with people right away. So I was like, it was my mission to like date this guy. So I sent him this Facebook message that was so long and embarrassing that like he read but didn't respond to. It was after I met him at the agency. I found him. I found him online. I sent him this long message being like very forward, because that was my thing with like early 20s, was like, yeah, I'm just really forward. Like I would actually say that in the message. And I was like, okay. And so I messaged him like basically asking him out. He didn't get back to me, but then...
Wait, but this was a long message. So did you ask him out at the end of the message, or like what was the body of that message?
I think it was just like, it was really nice to meet you. I don't know, I'm kind of forward. I was just wondering if you want to grab a drink sometime. Like he never got back to me, but then he got in this Broadway show, right? And so I saw he was in this show. So I messaged him again. And I said, oh, hey, I saw you're in, whatever Broadway show. I think I'm gonna like go sometime. He actually gave me comps with a friend. So so the guy was kind of interested.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to this show. We hung out afterwards, but then there was never a time after that it organically came up to like hang out with him again. So what I started doing is I thought if I ran into him because I knew that messaging him on Facebook wasn't going to work because he's not very responsive that way. So I knew his train stop, right? Because we both lived in Astoria. I just wanted to run into him in person. So I started like going for jogs around the block about the time that I knew he would be coming home from rehearsal. Like literally was like, what am I doing? Going for an hour run around the same block?
It's just really beautiful around 30th Avenue.
I really just wanted I just wanted to run into him in person because then I knew that he'd we'd have a spark.
Wow.
And did you try to look hot running?
Oh yeah. I never ran into him running, but then on the train one day, I saw him. I was like, oh, there he is. And so I saw him. He didn't see me yet, and I looked away and then looked back. And he must have, while I looked away and looked back, he must have seen me. Mm-hmm. He put up his hood and slouched into the seat. He hid from me. This man hid from me on the train. So I think he thinks I am like a crazy stalker.
So you looked back and he was just a hooded figure.
Yes. So I saw him, we didn't make eye contact, I looked away, and when I looked back, I saw him put up his hood and slink down into the seat, meaning he had seen me and he hid from me on the train. And that was this moment of
that's so cowardly though.
No, but it was this moment of this guy, did he know that I would go for jogs around? Did he look out the window and see me running by his place? He clearly was not interested and physically hid from me. So now the funny thing is, fast forward, I kind of was like, all right, I'm gonna chalk that up too. That was a failure.
Chalk it up to the game.
Yeah, that obviously was not a match. Turns out now he is married to a very famous actress who is winning a lot of awards right now that I did a show with. They are huge Survivor fans. So I did a show with his wife. I had a line, right? And between takes, she would come up to me and she's like, my husband and I, we are the hugest Survivor fans. And she asked me all these questions and she's amazing. And she's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to tell my husband that I ran into and we have so many questions. So she was just asking me. And I was like, she has no idea I physically stalked her husband back in the day before they were together and he hid from me.
No.
So she takes a selfie and she sent it to him. And I don't know, I don't know what he said or I don't know if he told her that girl was obsessed with me or something. Also to be fair, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe he just was having a bad day and didn't want to have a face-to-face conversation. So he did hide from me on the train, but also maybe he had no idea I was actually even that into him. I just had sent a long Facebook message. I don't know. Anyway.
Oh my gosh, Andrea.
Oh.
You said you were 23 when this happened?
22.
22. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, my heart.
It's just
my heart.
hilarious because I wonder if this girl, who's a really known actress right now,
she knows.
If she
knows?
Well, I don't know. I'm curious when she sent that picture what his response was of, that girl crazy.
The anxious person, the anxious side of me thinks absolutely yes. I just think everyone's always talking about.
Yeah.
How recent was the show you did with her?
I did it a year ago.
It was a year ago?
Yeah.
So nothing's happened in the past year where you're like...
Well, and also, they're living their lives. I don't think, that was so long ago, he might not even really remember. I mean, he probably doesn't know the extent of how I try to get his attention by running by his apartment over and over.
Oh.
So yes, to answer your question, I get rejected all the time.
Oh, dear.
Now at least though, I don't put myself in situations like that. I'm good at picking up cues. If someone's not interested, I'll know, and then I don't even pursue that.
How do you know? Body language?
Body language. I can tell. It's all in the eyes. It's how someone looks at you.
What if you had to hone in on one specific thing that always kind of makes you feel a little bit better after one of these kind of embarrassing moments? Can you think of one?
Oh.
If it's a variety, that's fine too.
I think for me, probably social activities and going out with my friends. Sure. And that really does actually do wonders. Yeah. Because I have a really good group of friends here in New York. I've been here 8 years. So I'm not someone, I don't do well by myself a lot. So if I'm by myself and something happens that's really embarrassing, then I'll start to spiral. Or there's a thing that happened 2 years ago too where I sent the long scrolly text to a guy because I messed up on something and he never responded. And I honestly kind of threw me into this little bit of a depression spiral because then everything piles up and you feel so worthless.
Do you think the no response feels worse than getting a negative response?
I mean, I think at least respond, you know? And I'm not someone that really asks much. It was more of an apology for something that had happened. And he didn't even he didn't text anything. And so that kind of set me into this spiral.
Oh, I have that too.
So I need to, whenever that happens, I do need to just be with people and go out with my friends and remember, God, with these guys too, guys come and go. Relationships come and go. That's why I don't even, really get that upset about, like, I guess, failed relationships, these little flings, because within like a month you like forget about that person, you know?
Yeah.
So I just kind of like get back out there and like hang out with my friends.
And so when you're going out with your friends, you're drinking, you're not getting sad.
No, I'm never sad when I'm out.
What's your perfect night?
My perfect night?
Yeah. We could put this on your dating profile later, but for now.
Okay, so like this was really fun. When I went out the other night for my friend's birthday, we were all in an Uber going over to the bar singing Hamilton at the top of our lungs and basically having our own karaoke night in the cab. And then, we just basically being at a party and like seeing all my friends and then different activities. I like a good karaoke night.
Love karaoke. Can you please invite me?
Yeah.
She's a damn good singer.
But I'm also like, I love bar games. I like, I don't know, just walking around at night in this city. I don't, you know.
Are you Batman?
Yeah.
So you're Wolverine, you're Batman. You do karaoke. Is there like a
Queen of the night over here.
I love dancing too.
You love dancing.
I love dancing.
First day we spent together, I saw you dance a lot.
Wait, what day?
We went to a silent disco and you were
yes.
were grooving out.
That's my perfect night.
Tell me about
my
the
perfect
silent
night
disco.
is
What
silent
is that?
disco.
Yeah,
it's
explain.
the best. You know, have you seen silent disco where you're wearing the
heard of
headphones? It seems really dorky at first because everyone's wearing headphones, but it's the best ever because there's 3 different channels and there's usually DJs there. So no matter what, you can always find a song you like and you can bond with other people that have the same color because they're listening to the same song.
Oh, so you know who's listening to the same thing by the color of the headphones.
And people think it's antisocial, but it's not, because if you're normally dancing at a club, you can't. It's so dark, it's so loud. Yeah. But here, all you have to do is pick up the ear thing and move it to the side, and you can talk at a normal volume.
I love that.
Yeah. No, so they have it at the Astoria Beer Garden, at the Bohemian Beer Garden in Astoria, and I go in the summer all the time.
Oh my god!
It was a cool venue. I'm not into that scene, but it was a nice venue, and it was nice because, as someone who does not like loud bars or clubs, the ability to just take off the headphones to have a conversation, it was a nice touch.
Jacob, is that the silent disco being silent?
I mean, kind of, yeah. But yeah, you were grooving out. So,
and that's also a great way to see who's on your vibe in terms of what you're listening to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's awesome.
You can follow Andrea on Instagram at Andrea Boehlke. That's AndreaBoehlke. And her podcast as well, Past Your Bedtime. And if you enjoyed the show, please leave us a review on iTunes. It helps word about the show spread like butter.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
Were you expecting more from me?
Usually it's a long-winded metaphor.
Keep it going with our plugs, man.
And of course, make sure you're subscribed to easily download new episodes. I'm Trying is hosted, edited, produced, and scored by Jhanelle Dennis and me, Jacob Derwin. Our cover art was created by the fabulous Sammy Kappa. See more of her work at SAMICAPPA.com, SammyKappa.com.
And you can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at ImTryingShow. And if you want, you can also follow us individually at Jhanelle Dennis and at Jacob Derwin.
If you've screwed up and or embarrassed yourself and are looking for help
or pity,
reach out to us on Twitter or email at ImTryingShow@gmail.com, and our team of crisis experts will be more than happy to assist you.
Reasonably happy.
Thank you so much for listening. And in the words of the Rolling Stones,
or Gino Vanelli,
wild horses couldn't drag me away. Oh, whatever.